What is going on, party people in the house? It's been a long time, but Jason Sukamel and I are back. We're here to talk one of my favorite subjects, which is the quarterback. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Jason, I've asked you this in the past. By the way, I love the t-shirt. But
you see the note in Lonnie Anderson super fan. Lonnie Anderson from WKRP, the blonde bombshell.
Yes.
Passed away a couple of days ago, so I'm representing Lonnie Anderson.
Okay, well, good for you, and RIP to Lonnie, very talented actress that she was.
Talented in a couple of major ways, yes.
I'm giving her RIP, Jason.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
The gutter.
No,
Golly, Jason. Anyway, Jason, this is the time of year. It's really interesting because usually by around this time of year, Sark has pretty much have gotten his quarterback for the following year or even a year after that committed. It's interesting, Jason, that here we are. We're sitting here in August the 5th. The season's about to start. And there's not a lot of buzz as relates to not 2026, 2027. I'm skipping ahead because that's how these quarterbacks do. I'm kind of curious, what's the latest and what's your take on what's going on? Because there's really only one guy on the radar, seemingly.
Well, there's a couple, and we can get into them. But, yeah, it is different in terms of the timeline because you're right, KJ, Lacey, Diabell, those dudes all committed like the summer before their junior years. Well, we are coming out of that phase right now, and Texas doesn't have a commitment in that 2027 class, doesn't appear to be close to getting a commitment in that 2027 class. But I don't exactly know the reasoning, Anwar, but if you look, like I pull up the national quarterback rankings, the only one in the top, there's two in the top 10 that are committed. One is Brady Edmonds, the California kid that Texas did offer. He's committed to Ohio State. And there's a Trey Taylor out of Illinois committed to Nebraska. So weirdly this year, the quarterback dominoes haven't started falling as early as they usually do, okay? Because once one or two of those top guys go, other guys say, I got to secure my spot. And they want to, because I've seen a case where one guy wanted to go to school, his spot got taken, and he ended up going to like his fourth choice because guys started committing so quickly. So those quarterback dominoes, for whatever reason, have not started to fall. I don't know the reason. I don't know if it's NIL. Guys are waiting to see what's going to happen there. Those discussions are slowing things down. I don't know the answer, is to tell you the truth, but it's not what we've seen in the past. We've seen this run of super early quarterback commitments. I mean, it's August. I mean, we're early August. I guess it could still happen, but usually Texas for sure has their quarterback committed by now.
Yeah. So like I said, it's interesting. Like when did Arch, when did he commit? Because he committed in the summertime, didn't he? Or wasn't it like in June or July?
I should know that. Gosh, Arch feels like forever ago, right? I don't remember the date. I remember Dia and Lacey were certainly in the summer. And Arch, let me pull up. I should know his. I remember exactly where I was when he committed, but go figure. My internet's going super slow.
It looks like he had made an announcement on June 23rd, 2022.
Okay, so I don't even know where you see that anymore because I used to go to the old Rivals profiles. I can't even see those anymore. So.
It's called Google. It's a fascinating device that you say, when did Arch Manning commit to Texas? And it gives you an answer. It's crazy.
I need to learn how to use that tool. Might be handy for work. So June, what'd you say? June what? 20?
It said June 23rd, 2022.
Okay, the day after my daughter's birthday. I should be able to remember that now. So, yeah, I mean, that's even earlier than what we're talking about with KJ and them because they committed at they were at camp, so they were around the same time. But, again, so we're in August. So this is 3 cycles in a row where Texas has had their guy wrapped up midway through the summer, or maybe even some might even call that early in the summer. Well, summer's damn near over in terms of the school calendar and in football calendar, and they don't have their commitment yet for the 2027 class. But as I said, not many schools do.
Well, yeah, and to be fair, I used the Arch question, and someone pointed out in the chat Arch committed. He was in that 2023 class, right? So he committed in 2022, but he was a part of. So it was for Arch. Technically, it was like 6 months in advance.
Okay.
To be fair, but other guys have committed early, like a Diabell's been. You said it feels like forever. I feel like Diabell has been committed forever when we have that conversation. So, Jason, if I'm looking at 2027, and we'll skip back to we'll go for 2027 and 2026 to present day. You said there's more than one guy involved, right? So, obviously for me, Peyton Houston has gotten a lot of the hype and well-deservedly slow. So, I mean, he threw for like 800 yards or something sick in one game, right? So,
the loss, by the way. Right?
In the loss, by the way, which again, I tell myself every time I talk about it, I got to go back and watch this game. Has to be one of the worst defensive games ever played in the history of high school football. One of the best offenses as well. Who are the players though? Who are the guys we need to know and kind of keep tabs on? Because Diabell's already. He's done. So I'm curious about the future, what that looks like.
Yeah, Dia's done in that 2026 class. It's a shameless plug. I actually talked to him yesterday. I wrote about him in my 321, which I posted on Orange Bloods last night. So you can go read about Diabell on Orange Bloods this morning after the show. But Peyton Houston is the main guy. We've talked about him on this show a bunch. Texas. Well, I say the main guy. I'm going to backtrack on that a little bit. He was kind of the main guy because he was the guy that they had offered. He was really the only uncommitted quarterback they were targeting. He kept visiting campus a bunch. But Peyton's always been pretty open. Schools like Oklahoma, USC. He's a guy, I think I've probably said, like, during the recruiting season, and we're in a dead period right now, and he's got his own season he's preparing for. But during the recruiting season, when guys are taking camp visits and unofficial visits, there's rarely a weekend when Peyton Houston is at home. I mean, he's always visiting somewhere. Excuse me. So, Peyton Houston's a name we've talked about a lot. Lately, there's been a lot of buzz with USC. Early on, it was kind of Oklahoma, Texas, and USC hovering around there. Lately, there's been a lot of buzz with USC. Who knows? Maybe Peyton makes a move to USC or something, and that gets these dominoes falling a little bit. The other one on where the coaches did offer Kavian Bryant out of Palestine Westwood, tremendous dual sport athlete, dual threat quarterback, also a really good basketball player, has a Texas offer in basketball, or he did under the previous staff. I don't know if he's been re-offered by the new basketball staff, but regardless, a very good basketball player, clearly. He camped. It was interesting because Texas had their elite camp. And they had a bunch of guys come in, a bunch of quarterbacks come in, and I'll mention some of these names in a minute, but none of those dudes got offered at that elite camp. Peyton Houston was there. He'd already been offered. Well, they all leave, and we're like, okay, what do we make of this? But then Kavian Bryant comes in a couple days later. It was like a Tuesday night camp or whatever. Okay. And he ended up getting his offer from the coaches after that camp performance. So at the elite camp, there really weren't any new offers that went out, which is kind of surprising. But then Kavian Bryant gets his offer. He's the guy that I'm probably looking at the most closely right now. I mean, Peyton Houston is always going to be in that discussion, but Peyton's waited so long, and USC is the team that people are talking about. And even Oklahoma, I get it. Oklahoma, we're like, hey, let's see what their coaching situation looks like in 4 months, right, Anwar? I mean, we may be questioning who's going to be around and not, but Oklahoma's been a player there. Now USC. Kavian Bryant, he's an in-state guy. He's a really good player. I think, really good player. Per the Rivals industry rankings, they've got him he's the number 2 quarterback in the country. That takes into account the Rivals 24/7 and ESPN rankings. So Kavian Bryant's an obvious name to follow. A name that comes up in the chat a lot is Gunnar Rivers, Phillip Rivers' kid.
Yeah.
He came to that elite camp, and Gunner's a tough one to read, dude. He doesn't do many interviews. Phillip doesn't really do many interviews about Gunner, occasionally. They keep it, they're just pretty guarded, not in a bad way. I mean, they just don't want all the distractions. I don't, begrudge them for it. But I did see them when they were leaving that elite camp. And like a stalker, I hunted Gunner down, and Phillip was there too. And I said, Gunner, you mind if I get a picture? Sure. can I get an interview? And a few of us ended up interviewing him. It was weird. He had really good things to say about Texas, but Gunner doesn't go out and say like, I got this. He's not all over social media, putting out all of his offers and visits and things. And I remember asking him something about, did Texas talk to you about an offer? And it wasn't, oh yeah, they offered. It was like, well, no, but they really let me know that they like me. So I don't know if that means they kind of offered without expressly offering. I don't know if he's just or if he's one of those guys who came in like Jerry Nussmeyer or Jerry Meyer, I'm sorry, out of Waxahachie's another one. Malachi Ziegler's the guy we talked about. He camped. Those guys are really good players, and they came to the elite camp by invitation, but they did not get offers at the elite camp. Colton Nussmeyer is another one, the brother of Garrett Nussmeyer. So there's other options out there, but as far as guys that are truly offered, Peyton Houston, Kavion Bryant, and I'm keeping an eye on Gunner Rivers. Like, is there some stuff brewing there under, behind the scenes because he's so private? Wouldn't surprise me. So I don't know. We'll keep an eye on that one.
It's interesting, Jason. Texas made the coordinators and position coaches available last week, and I had a chance to speak to AJ Milwee, and I kind of asked him about their philosophy because, as we know, they don't offer a lot of quarterback scholarships, right? They're very particular about that. And the thing he told me is that basically they want their offers to mean something. That when they offer you and you get a quarterback offer from Texas, you're going to be one of 2 or 3 kids that they offer in the entire class. There won't be 20 offers that are handed out like that. And so, they go about that. Now, Jason, it seems like it's paid off, but it seems like it's also risky, right, too, because you can only offer 2 or 3 guys, but if you miss on 2 or 3 guys, you're kind of left in scramble mode. But I want you to compare and contrast what Texas does from, offering QBs with maybe some other programs that you kind of noted or noticed or paid attention to.
Yeah, I can't really compare them to any individual single program. I don't pay attention to everybody's quarterback recruiting that specifically, but I do know and feel comfortable saying Texas is more precise, if you will, with their quarterback offers. And it's been that way. And like you said, it's by design, and it's something I've talked about and I've written about and I've talked to the recruits about. When they get a Texas offer, like you said, Omar, AJ Milwee said, hey, we want it to be a big deal. We want it to mean something. It does. These kids realize that when they get a Texas quarterback offer, it's like, oh, wow, I'm one of like 2 or 3 guys who in the entire country who've gotten offers. Other programs take the more shotgun approach where they're going to put out 10, 15 offers. Texas, sometimes they'll only offer 1. They may do like a courtesy kind of non-committable offer to somebody, but really, 1 or 2 offers is usually about what we see. They've offered 3 in this class or the class we're talking about, the Brady Edmonds commitment to Ohio State, and then Peyton Houston, Kavion Bryant. But Brady Edmonds committed so early. Texas offered him, and would they have taken his commitment? Probably, but that was never really even a full-on recruitment because he committed so early to Ohio State. So it is a big deal when Texas offers a quarterback. And, there aren't many schools that can get away with that approach. You have to have, you got to have the clout to be able to do it, to be a major program. You have to have quarterback recruiting and development, a reputation. That Sark has that. You could offer, maybe USC could get away with that kind of approach. Maybe in Oregon, but there aren't many that when you say, oh my gosh, I have a chance to go play quarterback at that school for that coach. There aren't many schools that fit that bill. Texas is one of the few of them. And that's the approach they use. And it seems to work for them so far.
Well, and it's working because as we transition, Jason, Diabell, it seemed like it's worked really good for him. I guess, he comes off the injury, Jason, and just kills it at the Elite 11 camp, ends up being the MVP there. It's interesting because I was looking it up. When did he get his 5th star? Because he didn't have he was a 4-star for a while, correct?
For pretty much the entire time. I think he just got it like at the last rankings update, and things are we're kind of melding some of these recruiting rankings together with the old On3 and Rivals guys. So the rankings have taken some kind of dramatic turns. Yeah, but he's been, I think maybe 24/7 had him as a 5-star, but everybody else was 4. He was a consensus 4-star, or a industry ranking, or whatever the term is, 4-star. But now he is a 5-star after the updated rankings. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, the coaches will always say, "Hey, we trust our rankings," and our rankings are what we're going to lean on, and it's fine. But it almost seems like it's prophetic in the Diabell conversation, because I won't say like Texas got a steal or anything like that, but I think maybe it's fair to say, Jason, that Diabell might be better than the casual observer may have known prior to this summer.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair and accurate. You could say the same with Trey Owens. I get it. Trey's still young, but Trey was, he wasn't a Rivals 250 guy, and we've seen flashes of what he looks like he's capable of. KJ Lacey, Rivals.com, the old Rivals, had him rated very highly. Most others didn't have him nearly as high. We're hearing already things about how good KJ Lacey's looked on his time at Texas. Diabell, I don't remember exactly where he was ranked on, where I don't have access to pull that stuff up anymore. But, now, everybody has him as a 5-star. They didn't when Texas offered him. Everybody's like, oh, that's a good player. No, it's Raja Bell's kid. And okay. But yeah, I mean, Dia, he had a really good junior season. Then he gets injured to the second round of the playoffs, ends up missing the rest of the year. Of course, they end up going on and winning a state championship. So whoever their backup is, we might be talking about him next year. But, and then Dia had to sit out like almost all of spring. This summer, he came back. I first saw him at the 7-on-7 circuit, this OT7 up in Dallas. That's when he first was kind of moving around and fully released to start doing these things, and looked really good up there. And then he goes, as you said, goes to Elite 11, gets Elite 11 MVP. Suddenly people start seeing him in person. You're like, okay, he's 6'2.5", 6'3". He's really well put together. He's, it's funny. I was talking to Deal yesterday, and I'm not comparing him to Arch Manning, but he has some similarities. I mean, he's bigger than you realize when you see him. You're like, oh shoot, he's thicker. Like, Arch has got big muscular legs and a muscular lower half. Dia's kind of like that. And what people don't realize, Dia, he's got a great arm, obviously, but he rushed for over 600 and some yards last year. I mean, it was 560. I can't remember exactly, but he rushed for a lot of yards. I'll say that, about 9 yards a carry before the injury. And he's a good basketball player, as you'd expect with his bloodlines. He's a really good athlete, kind of like Arch. I mean, when Arch came to Texas, everybody was like, Arch Manning, he's going to stand in the pocket and throw the ball around. Well, he can do that, but obviously we've seen Arch can take off and move with the ball too.
Yeah.
Diabell's kind of the same way. He said, hey, I'd like to do my damage from inside the pocket, but if I need to run and take off by design or just to buy some time or move the sticks, I mean, I can do that. So he said, I'm really curious to see how they use Arch this year with his running ability, because that's kind of how I think I can work in that Texas offense. So, pretty interesting comparison. And I was like, yeah, it kind of makes sense. I mean, Arch is Arch. I don't ever truly want to say, oh, he's the next Arch Manning, but there are some similarities in their playing style and their physical skill set.
And it's interesting, though, Jason, because it was actually, you 100% kind of led into my follow-up question. I only got like maybe 2 or 3 more for you. I was curious in what his philosophy was coming in and knowing that he's probably going to sit next year, right? I mean, we expect Arch Manning to come back unless everything happens, which would be a great problem to have, by the way, Jason. Which would mean, he's in New York, he wins a Heisman, they win a Natty, like this team's undefeated. It's one of those seasons that you just say to yourself, like, we just got to go pro. Like it's like that LSU. Joe Burrow, lightning in a bottle. You just say you're done, right? Yeah, but if that doesn't happen, he comes back, and I'm curious as to if you've had any conversation with Dia just about sitting behind Arch, because it seems like he's going to be comfortable with that whole process.
Yeah, I've talked to Dia, and I think I've talked to his dad about that too. They're comfortable with it, but let me tell you, these quarterbacks all come in. I'm not saying he's coming in saying I'm going to beat out Arch Manning, but he's going to come in, Dia, knowing what I know of Dia and having talked to him, at least trying to get that second string spot. I mean, I remember talking to Trey Owens. He's like, I'm coming in to push Arch Manning. I'm like, okay, that's confident and good for you. That's the mindset you should have. And KJ Lacey's coming in, hey, I'm going to try to beat out Trey Owens, and then I'm setting my sights on Arch once I get that second spot locked down. So, I mean, listen, Dia's the number one quarterback in the country. He's confident. He's a hell of a player. So he'll sit. He's also very smart. Okay, Diabell and he's got good people around him too, and his family. They understand, hey, if you need to sit a year and then battle for that spot or whatever, however it lays out, I mean, they'll be okay with that. But does that mean he's coming in with the mindset of, okay, I'm for sure going to redshirt and be third or fourth string? No, absolutely not. Diabell is coming in to try to climb that depth chart as quickly as possible. But he also understands he doesn't have to force the issue, get out there before he's ready, and be patient if he has to be, if Arch comes back, which I think most of us are probably expecting. So he's okay with it, but it's not like he's taken a kind of a laid back mindset where he's expecting it either. I mean, he's a very competitive kid. Diabell is very confident, as he should be. So he'll come in and battle and try to climb that depth chart as quickly and as high as he can in year one.
Jason, I think one of the last things I'll ask you, and kind of bleeds into your area of expertise, because clearly you've covered KJ Lacey, you've covered Trey Owens, we've mentioned him before, and now we know Matthew Caldwell is on campus. You've been out to practice. I'm just curious, what's your comfort level with the guys behind him? Because I think we expect that Matthew Caldwell will end up being the number 2 guy just based off of his experience, that we think, but you've seen it in person and you've covered these guys. I just want to know what's your comfort level for the guys who are actually behind Arch.
That's a good question. I don't know enough about Caldwell, especially in this offense. I will say that when I saw him at practice, I was like, okay, he's a lot bigger than I expected, because he's 8. Because Arch and him, the 16, 18, they have, like, their numbers are very similar and they get scrunched together. And like one time I took a picture of Caldwell, I'm like, and I thought it was Arch Manning. I'm, oh no, I had to do a double take. I was like, that's Caldwell. So I mean, he's not quite as big as Arch, but he's a big guy. There's just so much inexperience. I mean, Caldwell has experience, but not at this level. Trey Owens, KJ Lacey, we don't know what those guys are. We've seen flashes of what Trey can do in spring games and practices. I've heard good things about KJ Lacey, including this weekend. I was talking to people about practices, and they said, yeah, KJ's looking really good. I actually heard, again, this weekend, Caldwell was getting the 4th team reps in the quarterback pecking order. We're expecting, I think, sounds like you, and I think I am too. I'm expecting that to change, right?
Yeah.
Maybe today even, but he's still getting those 4th team reps behind those other guys. So who is the true backup? What's my comfort level? I don't know until we see those dudes truly facing live bullets. I don't know what to expect. I mean, they're all incredibly talented. I mean, they're all wanted by, KJ Lacey in particular, and I mean, programs all over the country really wanted those guys for a reason, but you just don't really know what you've got until you see them out there. I mean, they look good in practice. I've heard good things. Are they capable of running this team if, God forbid, I hate to put it out there, but if Arch has to miss 3 games, are they capable of, just going out there and not having a major drop-off? I don't know the answer to that yet. But the good thing, I think, you have 3 pretty talented backups, and it's up to the coaches to maximize that talent and find the right guy to be the number 2 guy. Okay. Is that going to be Caldwell? I don't know. Is it going to be Owens? Could it be KJ Lacey? It could be any one of those 3, and it wouldn't shock me. But that's what the coaches are for. That's their job. That's why they make the big bucks, to find the guy that's going to be next in line and to have him ready if his number is needed at some point this fall.
Okay, so this is the very last question. So I'm Steve Sarkisian, and I just hired you as a coach, right? Or Sark just hired you as a coach. And by the way, hold on, let me get Longhorn football edits there, and then I'll make sure I ask my question that I have for you, Jason. If Arch breaks a shoelace in 3 weeks, who would you have take the next snap as of today?
Well, I want you to answer this too, Anwar, because I mean, I think we both assume in 3 weeks it'll be Caldwell, right?
Yeah.
They didn't bring him in to be fourth string, but so that would be my answer in 3 weeks. But right now, as things stand right now today, probably Trey Owens, because I've seen more of him. But then again, when I was talking to people this weekend, KJ Lacey's name came up more than the other than Arch. So it's really hard to say. But I think in 3 weeks, the answer would probably be Caldwell, just because of his experience. There's a safety factor. You know, would he be ready to go in that Ohio State environment? Ooh, I don't know, man. That's a tough way to get thrown into the fire. But we'll see.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to go with the experience thing with Caldwell, because I felt like if experience wasn't kind of a factor, I don't think Caldwell would be here.
Yeah,
If all things were just being equal.
I don't feel like you bring him in to be fourth string, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a waste of a scholarship at that point. Waste of a roster spot, waste of NIL, all that kind of stuff, right? So I would think it would be Caldwell that would be there. But to your point, I see a lot of good things. I do hear a lot of good things about KJ Lacey as well. So, but thanks for that one. All right, so here's my last question for you, Jason. I'll let you get out. So after Ohio State, the month of September is pretty good for Texas, right? As far as that 3-game slate. If you're Sark, do you in those 3 games say, you know what? Arch is still a young quarterback, and I need to get him. And I say young, it's relative, right? Because he's 21 years old, but he doesn't have a lot of playing time. So let's remove that. Inexperienced quarterback, slightly experienced, whatever word you want to use. Do you say, hey, I need Arch playing in the majority of these 3 games to get as many reps as possible? Or are you saying, hey, but I need to get these other guys playing time and get them acclimated? Like, how do you balance that part of it, Jason? Because I feel like you can make an argument for either or.
Yeah. And if you play Arch a lot, you can, and I know the coaches don't care, and Arch won't care, but you can run up his pad of stats a little bit, right? Which gets you some extra publicity and maybe gets him to New York at some point. But if it's all about winning games, which is, I think that obviously that's what it's all boils down to, I think you kind of go by the standard play. And, you play him into the third quarter, maybe give him a series or 2 in the third quarter. And then you bring in whoever is your second quarterback and let those dudes actually run the offense. Because when you're bringing them in midway through the fourth quarter, just to hand off and kill 8 minutes of clock on, that doesn't do anything for you. So I would probably lean on pulling Arch pretty early, like seriously, give him 1, maybe 2 series in the third quarter. Let whoever your other quarterback is come in and run the offense for a couple series. Then maybe your third guy comes in and just hands off just to kind of get his feet on the grass a little bit. So I would lean towards getting him out and getting your backups experience. We've seen in this program, you've talked about it. I mean, the backup quarterback has always been needed, not just for like a series, right? That being said, I think Arch is going to be way more durable than Quinn Ewers, just the way his body's built, his history. I think Arch, I don't know that we're going to have that situation that we've seen with Ewers where he's going to miss multiple games. But, hey, you want to have those other guys prepared if that does happen. So I would lean towards pulling them out early, stats be damned, and getting your backups more experience.
Okay, real quick. On Prize Picks, they have him listed. They got the number at 239.5 for the season opener versus Ohio State. If it goes less than that, so let's say he finishes at $198, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and Texas loses, does that change your philosophy at all if he's just average looking in the opener versus Ohio State? Do you feel like, he's still proven enough, and there's nothing else to prove at this point?
Honestly, yeah, that probably would change my. Okay. I mean, hey, you go week to week in this business, right? So, I mean, you could chalk that up as road game against a really good defense, but you better get those kinks worked out pretty quickly against these other guys when you have a chance. So, yeah, that probably would change my philosophy a little bit. So.
All right, Jason, get out of here. I don't want to ask you to do your anything Lonnie Anderson related. So. But if you want to say something, you can, Jason. We're at the end, so you can.
No, just rest in peace, Lonnie. I have like my dad watched WKRP in Cincinnati, so I watched it. I was a little boy, but even then, that's when I knew, boy, okay, I like blonde bombshells because Lonnie Anderson even had. I was real young, Omar, and whoo, she was something else. So rest in peace, Lonnie Anderson.
All right, rest in peace. Get out of here, Jason. I'll see you back here at noon. Jason Sucamel, orangebloods.com, and apparently a Lonnie Anderson fan as well. That's interesting. Nonetheless, hey, did it. Got in and out in that 30-minute time span. I want to make sure I didn't miss anyone's super chat. Later today, just make sure you check out the channel. We've got the modcast coming up at noon. Recruiting hour stuff is coming up soon. So Outsiders at night, tons of things going on. Hit like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. We are close to, I don't know where we're at. Are we at 60,000 subscribers yet? It's going crazy. It's going bananas. I mean, I don't know what the final number is going to. Yeah, we are at 60,000. We are at 60,000 subscribers, y'all. We're trying to get to 100. So subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Like this video and leave nice comments. Leave nice comments in there on the video. Sometimes my kids read that, so y'all be nice. Nah, I'm just joking. They don't read that stuff. Remember, I always say, live each day like it was your last. One day it will be. So go out, do something nice for yourself. You absolutely deserve it. And we'll be back. I got more stuff to talk about. If you join us late, skip back ahead to the beginning. Listen in 1.5 speed, and you can get through this video like that. Y'all take care.